Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I'm back with another video, and today my wife and I are going to talk about a topic that I'm sure many Transformers fans are curious about. Now, before we get into it, I want to say that neither of us are politically correct.
That's true. However, what we are going to discuss might be considered too generalizing, and therefore please understand we are covering this from the perspective of a family of Transformers fans who love this franchise as a whole. We have no intentions of discussing the current political or social climate here at all.
As such, today we are finally covering the topic of female Transformers.
Generally speaking, toys have been marketed separately between boys and girls. Toys that are geared towards boys usually include toy guns, robots, spaceships, power tools, cars such as Matchbox and Hot Wheels, and action figures like G.I. Joe, He-Man, and Star Wars.
Toys that tend to be geared towards girls can include things such as cooking and homemaking, dolls like Barbie or Jem, and animals similar to Care Bears and My Little Pony.
When the characters were being developed for the original Transformers, all of them were made as genderless, yet seemingly male robots. However, that wasn't always the case. Bob Budiansky, who created the names and profiles for them, originally intended for Ratchet to be female. Named after Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Ratchet was to be known to give a lot of backtalk and break through the stereotype of being female. When Budiansky submitted this to Hasbro, they responded saying, "This is a boy's toy, so there shouldn't be any female characters." As a result, Ratchet was changed into a male character, and Budiansky had to come up with asexual ways for Transformers to reproduce, such as the creation matrix, which can be a discussion for another day.
Throughout the original US Marvel Comics, all Transformers were genderless but used male pronouns to describe themselves. However, instead of the cartoon's Teletran 1, the comics onboard computer was called Auntie. She was responsible for converting the Autobots and Decepticons into Earth-based forms. In the UK comics, after a Decepticon attack, she actually malfunctioned in the story Raiders of the Last Ark and tried to destroy all of the Autobots and Decepticons before Windcharger and Ravage were forced to kill her. When the first one of Femax decided she wanted the Pretender Cloudburst as her mate, he tried to explain to her that there were no such thing as male or female Transformers and therefore no mates.
The original G1 cartoon followed a similar route, at least during the first season. The Dinobots were simply built, although many of us might believe that they were given life with older Transformers sparks. Also, Megatron initially boasts that they built the Constructicons, which we have discussed previously. However, the second season blew the lid off the door and introduced many concepts into how new Transformers came to be. In the key to Vector Sigma, the Aerialbots and Stunticons were brought to life by the supercomputer Vector Sigma,
Before Cybertron was, I was.
which we now know to be a component of Primus, the creator god of all Transformers, and the core of Cybertron.
During the second season, some Transformers seemed to have a deeper relationship with organic females. In the episode The Girl Who Loved Powerglide, the CEO of Hybrid Technologies, Astoria Carton Ritz, would be saved by Powerglide, and the two seemingly crushed on one another. In the episode Sea Change, the Autobots would help the people of the planet Tlak from the Decepticons. Sea Spray, who transforms into a hovercraft, would fall in love with a local named Alana. In the pool of transformation, she actually temporarily turned herself into a female Cybertronian, complete with an alt mode of a boat.
You like?
Finally, in the episode Enter the Nightbird, Dr. Fujiyama built a female robotic ninja warrior, Nightbird, to show how far human technology had come. The Decepticons would then steal her and reprogram her to serve Megatron,
She looks like some Earthling clay puppet.
with the help of bombshell cerebro shells and an enhanced brain chip.
She's everything I've always wanted.
They sent her to steal the Autobots' world energy chip from the Ark. In the end, she was captured by the Autobots, and Dr. Fujiyama stored her away, hoping to undo her Decepticon programming.
With these 3 episodes, it makes one wonder if there were female Transformers in the G1 cartoon. While the 2nd season was being made, Transformers the movie had already begun development. Ron Friedman, who wrote the script of the film, fought for the inclusion of a female, but Hasbro and Sunbow were very resistant to the idea. His daughter was a huge Transformers fan, so they allowed the Autobot RC to be created. Before the movie arrived in theaters in the summer of 1986, a whole team of female Autobots was introduced in the 2nd season episode The Search for Alpha Trion. Led by the fearless and powerful Elita-One, Optimus Prime's girlfriend.
Look, Prime and Elita-One.
This team continued the battle against the Decepticons on Cybertron. Chromia, Firestar, and Moonracer were given names in the episode and were paired with Ironhide, Inferno, and Powerglide, respectively.
I hope you're still the best sharpshooter in the galaxy, Moonracer.
In the universe, Powerglide.
Just don't tell Astoria. Greenlight and Lancer were later named in the Wings Universe comic Flames of Yesterday.
In the episode War Dawn, we get a glimpse of Cybertron before the war. We meet Orion Pax, his best friend Dion,
Suckering more people into doing your work for you, Orion?
and his girlfriend Ariel.
Keep away from her. She's my girlfriend.
Don't listen to him. He's just a jealous type.
After a destined meeting with Megatron,
Orion Pax.
the 3 are nearly killed by the Decepticons. Thanks to the Aerobots, who were sent back in time, Orion Pax is brought to Alpha Trion and is completely rebuilt into Optimus Prime. When they mention Ariel, Alpha Trion states that he will send droids to retrieve her.
A female warrior. I'll call her Elita-One.
In Transformers the movie, RC was a powerful warrior. While seemingly in a relationship with Springer, the first Autobot triple changer, she did flirt with Hot Rod.
No, you better stay close to me.
Similarly to how Princess Leia kissed Luke in Star Wars, but was with Han Solo. Speaking of Leia, RC is designed to look like her as well, and she was added as a regular in Season 3.
Looks like the old empty Rockaroid trick fooled him all right.
After the movie, other female Transformers were also shown. In the episode Fight or Flee, Cyclonus and Scourge end up on the Cybertronian colony planet Paradron.
I don't have the strength to fight.
After a battle with the Autobots, they are nursed back to health by a Paradron medic, who uses the same character model as RC. In the episode Big Broadcast of 2006, Wreck-Gar is seen watching TV next to a Junkion lady.
I'm back, and I'm beautiful.
Baby, you're the greatest.
Later named Nancy after Nancy Reagan, who uses an animation model of the female Lithonian. Finally, in the episode Forever is a Long Time Coming, Beta is introduced as an Autobot freedom fighter during the time the Quintessons had enslaved Cybertron. She fought alongside Alpha Trion, who was then known as A3.
In the US, no female Transformer toys were released at all during G1. There was a prototype made of RC. However, just like Unicron, the toy was never released. There was also plans to release a repaint of Chrome Dome as a Headmaster RC, as seen in the 3-part episode The Rebirth, but that plan was also cancelled.
In Japan, however, the first female Transformers toy would be released during the Transformers Super God Master Force series. The toy was a repaint of the Autobot Nightbeat, and was colored as a medical car. The character was a young girl named Minerva, who bonded with her Transector. And through the power of the Master Force, she too could transform. At the end of Master Force, the Transector became a fully sentient Autobot, allowing the young girl to continue living a normal life. In Transformers Victory, Minerva assisted Perceptor and Wheeljack in rebuilding Jinrai into Victory Leo. who could combine with Star Saber to become Victory Saber. There was also Clipper, an Autobot Micromaster, who was also Holy's girlfriend. In the Transformers Victory manga, the first female Decepticons were introduced. Esmeralda was Deathsaurus' wife, and Lysak was Leozak's sister. It is because of them that the other Decepticons were not killed in the final battle against the Autobots.
Even though the G1 Marvel Comics had the Transformers all being genderless, their adaptation of Transformers the movie would have Arcee among the cast. The UK comics told stories that involved her and other characters in the film. It was here that their version of Arcee's origin was given. The story Prime's Rib had Optimus Prime trying to create better relations with humans because feminist groups claim that Transformers are sexist. So he creates Arcee, the first female Autobot. Much to their disgust, they claim that she shouldn't be pink and that she looks weak. Arcee proves to the feminist groups and the Autobots, however, that she is a force to be reckoned with by rescuing Optimus Prime from a Decepticon attack.
In the Dreamwave comics, Arcee is among many of the Autobots introduced in the second miniseries of the comic. We discover that she is under the control of the Quintessons, along with other female Transformers on Quintessa. However, what became of them was never resolved as Dreamwave went bankrupt before the story could continue.
The IDW comics would have, at least at first, the most controversial origin of female Transformers. In Spotlight Arcee, her origin of this continuity was revealed. She was originally a male Transformer that was experimented on by G-Axis, who wanted to introduce gender into Cybertronians. Arcee's very CNA was altered, turning he into a she. Displeased with his experiment, G-Axis abandoned Arcee, leaving her angry and violent. She would hunt down to destroy anything G-Axis created. In 2014, a fan vote for a new female Autobot led to the creation of the character Windblade. By introducing her, they also began adding more and more female Transformers and changed the backstory to resemble that of the aligned continuity. More on that later.
Outside of G1, female Transformers have become a staple of the Transformers universe after G1 ended. In Beast Wars, female Transformers and love relationships are normal. Black Arachnia is introduced as a Maximal reprogrammed as a Predacon, and she eventually falls in love with the Fusor Silverbolt. Airazor, the female Falcon, was a strong aerial fighter, but was not originally intended to be female. Upon Bob Forward and Larry DiTillo's request to have a larger female presence on the show, Hasbro was able to even change the toy bio, and thus she was female. She began to develop a relationship with Tigertron. Both of them were later captured by the Vok and merged to become Tigerhawk, a super powerful Maximal. In Beast Machines, Botanica was a Maximal scientist who transformed into a plant and would seem to have a budding relationship with Rattrap. One of Megatron's powerful generals was Strika, consort to Obsidian. Their catchphrases might remind you of Doctor Who.
Dominate! Obliterate!
But those catchphrases were simply a ruse.
Terminate. Obliterate. Can you believe they fell for that?
In the Unicron trilogy, there were not many female Transformers, but they were there. In Transformers Energon, their version of Arcee was a motorcycle and was the leader of the Omnicons. In Transformers Cybertron, Thunderblast was a female Decepticon who had a very anime girly crush on Megatron. The leader of the Transformers on the planet Velocitron was the Autobot Override. Back in Japan, where the series was known as Galaxy Force, Override was originally the male Nitro Convoy. At Cartoon Network's request, the character was made as a female for the US dub. As such, Override's relationship with Lori leads to them calling each other Big Sister, Little Sister.
In the live-action films, development for the characters in the first film led to a design for Arcee. They even made a toy for her as well, giving her an alt mode of a motorcycle. While she was dropped from the first film in favor of Ironhide, Lennox does use an abandoned motorcycle bearing resemblance to her during his attack on Blackout. In the subsequent comics that act as a sequel to the first film, Arcee was split into 3 separate motorcycles, with the other 2 named Elita-One and Chromia respectively. As shown in Revenge of the Fallen, Arcee is introduced as these 3 motorcycle Autobots that seem to act in unison and are killed in the final battle in Egypt. Alice, a Decepticon pretender, attempted to capture Sam while he was in college, much to Michaela's dismay.
In Transformers Animated, Elita-One was friends with Sentinel and Optimus Prime in the past. She was mutated on the organic world Arca 7 into Black Arachnia after Optimus and Sentinel abandoned her. She would join the Decepticons to get her revenge on Optimus. Red Alert was made as a female medic and was originally planned to be part of the regular cast instead of Ratchet. RC, an intelligence officer, was entrusted the activation codes for Omega Supreme during the war when she was injured. When Ratchet went to save her, both were captured by Lockdown. Ratchet was forced to use an EMP blast to wipe her memory, and she would remain in a coma for 4 million years. When Starscream made several clones of himself using his fragment of the Allspark, each of them had aspects of his personality. One of them was female and was later given the name Slipstream. One of the main casts on the show, Sari Sumdak, happens to be one complicated character. She starts out as the Autobots' human companion throughout the series, and she also makes use of the Allspark key that can repair and revive Transformers. It is eventually revealed that she was once a Cybertronian protoform who merged with Dr. Sumdak's DNA, creating a human Transformer hybrid. This revelation would lead her to getting an upgrade in Season 3, making her one of the most useful human companions in all of Transformers.
In the Align continuity, all female Transformers are descended from Solus Prime, one of the original 13 Transformers. After Cybertronians came in contact with gendered aliens, they began referring to those who descend from Solus Prime as female, and began using gender pronouns to differentiate themselves. RC is one of the main cast of Transformers Prime. Shedding her typical pink for blue, she is a no-nonsense fighter.
This ends here, pawns.
She has a history with Arachnid, who killed RC's friend Tailgate. In Transformers Robots in Disguise, Strongarm is Bumblebee's cadet and likes to do things by the book. And finally, in Transformers Rescue Bots, there is Quick Shadow, who was sent to assist the team by Optimus Prime. She's voiced by Alex Kingston, known to many as River Song in Doctor Who.
Spoilers!
With all of these examples of female Transformers, it begs the question, what is their purpose? Why would a sentient race of robots have need for female or male if they do not reproduce sexually? Or do they have a different way? That has been the question ever since characters like Elita-One and RC were first introduced. This all really depends upon continuity, as the inclusion of more and more female Transformers is reflective of the franchise no longer being just for boys. The current comics by IDW Publishing ran into controversy when they began opening the door for more female Transformers. Initially, the series was being scripted by longtime Transformers comic writer Simon Furman. Being the same author as the old Marvel UK story Prime's Rib, it was clear how he viewed the whole purpose of female Transformers. However, when Margaret Scott was tasked with writing an origin story for the fan-voted Autobot Windblade, she saw a different vision for why and how female Transformers came to be. This even caused the two comic writers to have a very public clash. Eventually they reconciled their differences and Scott's vision came to fruition.
In a similar way to the Align continuity, IDW's comics view all female Transformers as being 1 in 12, all patterned after Solus Prime, one of the original 13 Transformers. Solus Prime left Cybertron eons ago, along with the Titan Caminus, and started a colony of Transformers. Within Caminus was a hotspot of unborn sparks, allowing new Transformers to be born, and over time many of them evolved into female Transformers. With the door now open for them, familiar female characters from previous Transformers tales, as well as new ones, such as the Torchbearers, who merged to form Victorion, the upbeat engineer Nautica, and the High Priestess known as the Mistress of Flame, have now joined in the storytelling of the comics.
Going back to the original G1 cartoon, along with its sequel series Beast Wars and Beast Machines, there does seem to be a notion that female Transformers do serve one of several ways Transformers can reproduce. But that, with the length of this video, is a discussion for another day.
We hope you've enjoyed this overview on female Transformers. While we've only scratched the surface, we both enjoy the various characters that have come after their inception in G1. From RC, Windblade, Black Arachnia, and Slipstream, we're sure to see more female Transformers as long as the franchise continues. But what do you think? What is your origin of choice for explaining female Transformers? Are any of them your favorite character?
Mine is Moonracer.
Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. We have more Transformers discussions videos like this coming soon, so stay tuned.
And as always, until next time, until all are one.
So the female Autobots still exist?
Yes, we exist, and we always will.